One of the reasons I'm coming out is I'm not afraid of losing a career. I'll fall on the sword if it means I can help the American people and help everyone else at the IRS who are doing their jobs.
Good morning. Welcome back to Real Talk with Darius. Sorry, I've been going away for a little bit. Excuse me. And I took some time off to focus on some other things. I didn't plan to do that, but I did because I'm working on another channel, working on some other projects as well. But I still have a heart to continue to do this because we're living in some interesting times, and great days are ahead. I am totally convinced that great days are ahead for all of us. Well, for most of us, and so. Let's get ready to get into this. James O'Keefe. Oh, remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share this channel. Please comment. That helps with the YouTube algorithms. Also, hit that like button. Now, James O'Keefe, of the former CEO of Project Veritas, he has his own new business called OMG, O'Keefe Media Group, and so he's still doing what he's been doing, what he's been very successful at. Of course, a great risk to himself and to maybe some of his employees and the people who he is talking to. But anyway, let's get ready to get into this and I'll talk more. But he's interviewing a whistleblower from the IRS.
My name is David Nelson.
And where do you work?
I work for the Internal Revenue Service. The technical position is called a tax examining technician.
What do you want the American people to know?
We have very antiquated systems. They aren't integrated. We're basically handcuffed. One of the reasons I'm coming out is I'm not afraid of losing a career. I'll fall on the sword if it means I can help the American people and help everyone else at the IRS who are doing their jobs. I want to set an example for my kids. If I get too emotional, it leave something that they can aspire to.
Your kids?
My kids. That they know my dad did that, and I'm going to bull ahead and do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
Oh, it's a scary thing for people. You can lose your career over doing the right thing.
David Nelson is blowing the whistle on the IRS. He is a tax examining technician at the IRS out of the Covington, Kentucky office, a position that reviews and corrects tax returns. He is concerned about the inefficiencies plaguing the agency and the use of highly outdated technologies which are not integrated. At a time when there are discussions to reform and revamp the IRS, we met David at his home alongside his family, and he took the extraordinary step of going public, going on the record, and blowing the whistle on the outdated system called IRS and what he would do to reform it. What do you want the American people to know?
We have very antiquated software. We use a software called Integrated Data Retrieval System.
IRS.
IRS.
And dates back to when?
Late 1960s. This tells you about IRS, when it was first implemented, when it was implemented throughout all the service sites.
1969. That's when they put the man on the moon. And how do you think this system affects the IRS's efficiency?
A ton. We can't do anywhere close to what the American people think. The whole U.S. tax system being built on a program that was created in the late 1960s. That's absurd. It's command code driven.
Command code consists of low-level instructions for operating computers, and it is deemed outdated because of the emergence of higher-level programming languages that improve productivity and usability. It is similar to MS-DOS, which is so antiquated that it hasn't been widely utilized in our education system for decades.
You can think of like MS-DOS, but older. That's probably the most relevant thing that people could think of. We could probably reduce.
What he basically is saying so far is that we're using antiquated systems in order to run I'm going to use the term conglomerate business, type of business, where the business has grown astronomically since the 1960s with a lot of citizens, with a lot of incomes. You know, you got a lot of businesses, you got a lot of people who become employees, working for these different companies, and the system itself is old. How can it manage? How can it maintain? How can it successfully continue to operate with an old system? Don't our phones update pretty much regularly? Don't our our normal computers, don't they update regularly? How come the IRS, which gets billions and billions of dollars a year from the taxpayer, how can they still run successfully, efficiently, and effectively off of old systems and old equipment? Doesn't make sense, does it?
Reduce the size of the IRS substantially with changes, programs, a centralized inventory system, replacing IDRS.
This is your suggestion. In light of the IRS drafting plans to cut its workforce by as much as half through a mix of layoffs, attrition, and incentivized buyouts, David has solutions on how to reform the IRS.
This is something I made kind of as a hobby on weekends.
You basically created a solution to reform the IRS as a hobby.
For my small unit. I'm a huge geek.
You're a patriot as far as I'm concerned. The IRS system is a system which enables IRS employees to have instantaneous visual access to certain taxpayer accounts. The problem is the system is so antiquated, it takes an unusually long time to get basic tasks accomplished. Mailing a letter to a taxpayer, copying and pasting addresses, and transferring information from one to the other, David says this is all hurting the American people through extreme inefficiencies. And
see, so how is this possible? You have access to billions of dollars of the taxpayers' dollars. You expect us to to report on our taxes annually and keep a pretty good organized system in case y'all come and audit us, for example. Make sure we send our payments out on time. However, the government is running very efficiently. Don't they work for us? This is the key. This is the thing that keep getting me. They are supposed to be working for us. They take all of our money. Yes, I used to work take all of our money, or huge portions of our money, excuse me. And they're running this poorly. Sounds like they're terrible employees. Not this gentleman or people like him, but this sounds like the government is a terrible employee.
And he walked us through the Kafka-esque process IRS employees have to deal with.
6112 letter. To complete the letter, we have to copy from IDRS the taxpayer's name and address into that letter, manually copy it into there, and then we save that to a case file. It also...
Oh, is this why then it takes a long time for a lot of people to receive their tax returns back? The government can take your money like that. They are very fast and efficient at taking our money from us, but they're very slow and inefficient at returning our money back, or at times giving people their refunds. That's what I'm talking about. So this is very interesting, and the government does not like this young man, and y'all gonna learn this in a moment, is doing this at great risk.
Fills in information from mail out dates, where we have the date the letter is sent out. We have a purged due date that gets copied and printed into the letter. We have to basically just copy and paste.
So this is IDRS right here.
This is IDRS. This is a disclosure tool we use during calls. We put the reason of contact, we enter the taxpayer information, and then there's a drop down and it'll pull up the business information. We ask questions to verify who the taxpayer is. We could do a lot to improve things for the American taxpayer. This tells you about IDRS, when it was first implemented, when it was implemented throughout all the service sites, and then all the service sites in 1973. And then Congress has been notified of this. It's been reported to them for years. And there's some money that was provided as part in the Biden administration under the Inflation Reduction Act to improve things, but it was more of a Band-Aid instead of an actual fix.
So did y'all hear that? Did y'all hear this? This man said that Congress was aware of this for years. I know there's some people who do not want to hear this type of news or this type of information, don't even want to believe it. That's one of the things I've learned from over the past 4 years. There's two types. There's more than this, but there's two types of people. There's people who's glad that the truth has come out, and they are outraged about it and want something done. Then there's another group of people who are mad for two reasons. They are upset for two reasons. One, the information came out and they can't believe their ears, they can't believe their eyes. And secondly, they wish they didn't know. So some people are mad because they know. Why? Because now you're held accountable for holding these folks accountable. And so what do some people do? Some people hunker down to continue to support the parties, the individuals, the groups that they wholeheartedly believe in, even in the face of actual evidence that they should not hold those positions.
IRS, but it funded small programs to make things a little more efficient in other areas, but it didn't fix the actual problem.
Everyone knows about it.
Everyone at the IRS. And I'm speaking about it, but in general, we're told not to. I can automate a lot of the things that I have to manually do, and I can put it on a second screen that I don't have to look at. It can fill in the information, and then I can do a quick review to make certain everything's accurate. Then click the next button, it'll fill out the next PDF, and then once it's done, I can do a quick check, and I could be more efficient if I had permission to use it. It's not even that it would have taxpayer information. It's for anything to get approved as a tool. There's a ton of people it has to go through for approval.
This is a 50-year-old system, and it needs to be updated.
Yeah.
Political solutions are slow to come.
What is incredibly frustrating to me, Congress has been notified of this. It's been reported to them for years. And there's some money that was provided as part in the Biden administration under the Inflation Reduction Act to improve things, but it was more of a Band-Aid instead of an actual fix. It kept IRS, but it funded small programs to make things a little more efficient in other areas, but it didn't fix the actual problem.
You encountered any issues when trying to report system errors or deficiencies?
I'm speaking about it, but in general, we're told not to.
Told not to? What do you mean?
It's instruction from Treasury.
David describes his motivation on why he's doing this.
One of the reasons I'm coming out is I'm not afraid of losing a career. I'll fall on the sword if it means I can help the American people and help everyone else at the IRS who are doing their jobs. I want to set an example for my kids. If I get too emotional, it leaves something that they can aspire to.
Your kids?
My kids. That they know my dad did that, and I'm going to follow in his footsteps. I'm going to do the right thing. I'm going to do what I can to ensure that other people aren't harmed, to protect others, to protect family, to protect strangers. Just do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
Oh, it's a scary thing for people. You can lose your career over doing the right thing. I'm going to bull ahead.
I'll add this: you can lose your life for it too. See, what we're hearing here is as James mentioned earlier, is that he's watching a patriot. Because when you come out to tell the truth against the government, against certain agencies and departments in government, and depending on what it is you are exposing, what you're sharing, or what you're sounding the alarm about, it can get very, very dangerous real quick. Once again, let's pay attention. Let's remember, not that long ago, 8-9 months ago, President Trump almost lost his life on the national scene in what I'm going to call in this case a public square before the eyes of millions and millions of people. Where would this country be heading right now if the assassin's bullet was successful? This is not easy. What he's doing, as you saw in the bottom right, probably saw in the bottom right corner of the video, and we're going to get back to it, is almost over. His price is his life. He's trying to leave a legacy for his kids, and as he said, also for the American people. So telling the truth, this he's doing, as he admitted, he's doing what other people are not willing to do because they care too much, in my view, about their lives. And again, it's situational. Do not be crazy. Use wisdom, use intelligence. But doing the right thing in this world, it does come with a heavy price. None of this is easy. What I'm doing to share these videos, none of this is easy. Everybody's at various levels and prices must be paid. One way or the other, you're going to pay a price. The question is are you willing to pay it? And are you willing to either enjoy the benefits or suffer the consequence?
And do the right thing.
David's commitment to doing what's right goes beyond his professional life. It's deeply personal. His desire to set an example for his children and leave behind a legacy that represents honesty, integrity, and the importance of fighting for change is what seems to drive him. In his own words, he wants to make a difference, not just in his workplace, but in the world. But what do you think about your father? He says he wants to set an example for all of you.
He's better than other fathers.
Better than other fathers. I think I agree with that. He's an example of what a father should be. David's words may sound like whistleblowing to some, but for him, he says it's simply sharing the truth about the inefficiencies. You think that you're whistleblowing?
For this, a little, I'm not sharing anything that is unknown. The problem is that everyone knows this, but the American people.
Right.
What made you this way? You're a very unique individual. Most people don't work for the IRS and blow the whistle, so to speak, on the inefficiencies. And was your upbringing? Is it God? Is it circumstance? What do you think made you the way that you are?
Helping others. I'm a civil servant. My job is to ensure a fair and just tax system for the American people. I love helping others.
David showed us his home office and describes his disability that he's faced with.
This is my office area. I built and did all this myself. I have all this insulation on the walls to try to keep it warmer, as I'm very temperature sensitive. I'm limited with my disability. I can only handle so many certain positions. I have a lot of limitations, and it's made me feel more free in taking actions and doing things, because I maybe have a few more years, I think, at best.
One thing that struck me in the household was the children's admiration. It was palpable. They looked up to him and they helped him with his disability. They seemed to be willing to have his back. There wasn't any sign of fear in their home, despite the enormity of what their father had chosen to do. When they were standing around, they held on to him and they looked after him. In all of my journey, I had never seen such a loving household as this man.
Man, this is incredible. And this is one of the most heartwarming and revealing moments, as well as kind of explosive videos that I've ever been a part of, just because of the emotional connection, the emotional scene we've seen. Because once again, what we have to realize is this young man is really putting his life and his career on the line. He's also putting the life or the well-being of his children on the line as well. And according to him, in short, and I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but what I extrapolate from that is that this is what he's willing to do, to tell the truth, even if it costs his life and it's going to affect his kids. But his kids are going to definitely think wonderful of him. They're going to think of their father as a hero, that he did the right thing, even at a great expense to himself and possibly to them. So pray for this family. Pray for other whistleblowers who are coming out, sharing information that benefits we the people. Supposedly, we are the bosses, and we're continually finding out that was just an illusion. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. Share this video if you enjoy the content we have here. If you have something you want me to cover, let me know in the comments. I'll try to read as many comments as I can. Also, if you know anybody else who's interested in this type of content, go ahead and send his videos, send this channel to them. Thank you very much. Jesus loves you, and so do I.